y'all. Welcome back to another season of Small Talk. You already know, two queens, two perspectives, one topic. Britt, what are we starting off with this episode?
So we know that it has been a very, very, very long time since you've seen our beautiful faces. So I just want to check in. Today's episode is going to be about finding you, finding yourself, and really like what we've been kind of up to and what finding ourselves kind of look like. So
Mhm.
we can kick it off. I don't know if you want to go first. Just
Ugh,
how have you been in general? Tell the
y'all.
people.
Yeah, I've been working, figuring my life out. I think since we are talking about just like finding ourselves, I think I've been in a very big season of that and trying to figure out what I want to do in my future, with work, like career stuff. I feel like in every aspect of my life, I've just been trying to navigate self,
Mhm,
and trying to like move forward and figure out what is it that I want for me,
mhm,
unapologetically, right?
mhm.
Because I think
That's key.
so many times like we do things for other people, and I'm just at a place where I'm like, that's cool and that's great. And I'm used to doing that, but I got to change pace real
Mhm,
quick and like just
mhm.
really do what I need to do for me and figure out what that looks like, what happiness looks like, in the next season.
That's good. And so oftentimes we don't practice what we preach, right? Like, already know you and I were born to people, Davey, do something for you,
Right?
self-care, put yourself
Yeah.
first.
Self love.
But it's true what you said, just kind of finding who you are. Um, Before I even ask you that question, for me, it's been an ongoing of like just being at a plateau in life, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
kind of at a standstill ever
Yeah.
since COVID, really. It's been kind of like just for me.
Mm-hmm.
So picking up where I left off, just like with my family, like my own personal goals that I have for myself, like starting back to get my health right and
Mm-hmm.
not overeating, turning into stress eating,
Oh,
right? Like realizing what that actually looked like for
right.
me. It's been a journey. It's been a journey. It's been good. I'm happy the world is getting back to some sort of
Me
normalcy.
too.
Because I'm feeling like myself again, but slowly but surely, but just kind of finding me
Mm-hmm.
again, right? And it's so funny because when before we went to DC with Millennials versus the World podcast,
Hmm.
one of the biggest things that I said was like, I'm just going as Brittany,
Yeah.
right? Because I played all these different roles back at home, and
Yeah.
it's true. Like you wear all these hats, these different titles, whether it's
Hmm.
your job, whether it's family, whether it's I don't whatever it is, a
Anything.
friend,
Yeah.
really, right? And then kind of just losing sight of who you really are and what that feels like.
Hmm.
So for me, like doing that with you guys, shout out to Millennium, that's where it was good. It was good to just like live in the moment,
Yeah.
not kind of take on too much,
Hmm.
just be present.
Yeah.
Y'all probably didn't see a whole bunch of like posts and stuff what was going on because we really wanted to be
Just being,
in the
yeah,
moment
just being
and kind of
present.
so
Hmm.
that's me. That's what's been going on. And I guess a question for you would be like, what age or when do you think is in the moment that you find yourself, or is there like a time frame
Mm-mm.
that you should find yourself?
No, because if I told you all the ages I thought I would have found myself by now,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, I would be like, oh no, well maybe it'll happen next year. Okay, well, maybe it'll happen next year. And I think it's just because we go through so many different transitions, right? Like, I think like for me, I'm like, okay, I'll have it figured out once I graduate from undergrad. And then graduation day came, and I'm like, wait, I don't know what I want to do anymore. And I'm like, and it took me
Hmm.
some time. And then I was like, okay, grad school is the thing. I'll figure out in grad school. I knew what degree I wanted to get, but then I didn't know what career field I wanted to get into,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So then figuring that out again. And now that I'm in my career, I'm like, okay, well, my job is good, my career is good, but dang, now I want to travel more, right?
Hmm.
Now
Hmm.
I want, okay, think about relationship wise. I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, now it's time to get into a relationship. What do you do with that? How do you navigate in that? So I don't think there's a set age. I don't. I think that there's a certain time where you should have a level of maturity though.
Yeah, absolutely. Please,
Like you should
please.
not be thinking the same way when you're 30 as you did when you were 16, 17, 21, even 25
Hmm.
even.
Hmm.
But I think having everything like figured out, I think we go through too many transitions
Hmm.
because like the moment you figure out yourself, I kind of feel like you just figure out yourself for that season.
Hmm.
That prepares you for the next season.
Yeah,
And then whatever you learn in that season should prepare you for the next season.
yeah,
I think you learn so much about yourself just as time goes on. So I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know if there's a certain age. What do you think?
Mm-mm. I agree with you. I don't think there's a certain age. I People change every day, right?
Hmm.
People change every month, every week, every whatever.
Yeah.
And if we set the bar, we set the expectation of this is what it should be,
Hmm.
like then we won't allow ourselves to grow
Yeah.
past that mark that we've already reached, right?
Yeah.
Like so it is good to goal set. I think you should have a goal of where you
Mm.
should be, like you said, levels of maturity and whatever,
Yeah.
finding yourself. But honestly, Asia, I really don't even think people know what finding yourself looks like.
Ooh. So what
Like,
does it look like?
I don't know.
Girl,
I'm one of those people.
me
I don't know. And so
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it all is that I feel like every day you learn something new about
Hmm.
yourself. I know my wants and needs. I know my likes and dislikes,
Hmm.
right? So I guess that's kind of like finding me. But
Right.
then when something happens, it's like, oh, what's this feeling? Like this is
Hmm.
weird, right? When
Yeah.
I was 21, I wouldn't have perceived that way. But now that I'm in my
Right.
30s, like my early 30s, I view life a
Hmm.
little bit different.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it's an evolving door. Like finding you will never stop, even when you it won't. I mean,
Yeah.
until you lay your head to rest. that's
It's
that's it.
true.
Final call.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. And
that's
I
how
kind of,
you
and
do
I
it.
don't think that I ever want to get to the place where I'm so like, okay, this is me and this is how I'm going to be forever. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like when I'm like a great grandmother or like a grandmother, I'll be at that place. So, you know how we always like older people, they just say whatever's on their heart to say. They
Mhm.
just do whatever they want to do type of
Mhm.
vibe. And I think it's because they get to a place where they're just like settled and like, this is just who I am.
Yeah,
Right.
stuck in their ways.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that's like healthy to an extent. Right. Because I do want to get to a place where I'm like, look, y'all, this is me. My favorite color yesterday was blue. Today is actually pink.
Yeah.
And oh well, like oh
Yeah.
well, fine. But I think it's just I never want to get to a place where I'm so stagnant,
Mhm.
where I'm not exploring different parts of myself, different versions of myself either. In
Mhm.
the same way that I feel like when we're in relationships with people and friendships and stuff like that, those things evolve too over
Yeah.
time. And I feel like we should have that same like grace for ourselves, right? Like yeah, like some parts of me were seasonal. Like, like I went through a phase where I was very impulsive. And for
Oh,
me,
still
was
am.
it fun? Yes, it was
Mhm.
so fun. But it also had some consequences that I was
Mhm.
able to take back then.
Mhm.
Right. But now I'm like, can't really be as impulsive because I got bills to pay, I have more responsibilities.
Mhm.
The risk, I have to really like think about the risk with certain things. So I'm like, I still, still gonna have fun though.
And I think you should hold on to some qualities and characteristics because that
Mhm.
does define like you,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like it's not really finding who you are, but defining you. And I think it's okay to redefine yourself as time
Mm,
goes by,
mhm.
as you're finding you. But some of our qualities and some of our characteristics just that's just who we are
Yeah.
as people. Because you said impulsive, and, and baby, you already know. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it
If there's one
fast.
thing Britt's gonna do, is it. She's going to
I'm going to do it, and it's not a good trait to have, but it's a part of who I am
Yeah.
because that's all I know how to do,
Right.
right? And sometimes I'll backtrack and be like, "Dang, I should have
Yeah.
just waited, or I should have talked that out, or maybe that wouldn't have panned out that way
Right,
if I
right,
would
right,
just
right.
waited a little bit." But I said all that to say, like, people's qualities, characteristics, that is who you are.
Mhm.
Certain things just kind of stick with us and don't really change as
Yeah.
we change because it is the
That's
foundation of
mhm.
us, right? But it's okay to add on different layers, like you said, in different seasons of your
Yeah.
life for what fits you
Mhm.
at that moment.
Yeah.
When life situations change, when we get a new job, when we get a new relationship is a big
Oh.
one, right? Things change, the dynamics change, and I think. Well, let me ask you.
I don't like
You're
the
on the
face she's
spot.
making right now.
Let me ask you. Do
Okay.
you think that like it's healthy to go into a relationship where you feel like if we're talking, right? And we
Right.
already said that you don't really find you
Okay.
because it's evolving.
Right, right.
Do you think it's healthy to then sit in a relationship where you haven't fully found yourself yet, or be fair to be in a relationship with somebody where you don't even know yourself?
Great question. Love that one for me to have to answer. I think that hmm, okay, here's what I think. I think that it is healthy to be in a relationship um, where you're not all figured out, right?
Okay.
But I don't think that you should get in a relationship if you have no idea at all like no standing, no grounds for you as an individual. Because I think as much as like we're evolving and we're growing, right? There's certain things of that I do know about myself,
Mhm.
things that I'm willing to tolerate, things that I'm not. Like I have a this is what I want to say. You shouldn't get into a relationship if you have zero self-awareness.
Yes. Yeah.
Like it's okay that you don't have yourself totally figured out, right? But you need to have a level of self-awareness about the areas that you should be growing
Mhm.
in still,
Mhm.
that you are like, yes, I already have this, like I got this in the bag, a direction for your life. Because when you get into a relationship, you're spending a lot of time with this person.
Yeah.
So if you have no standing for yourself, you're going to start to conform to, if that because if that person is super strong in who they are, what they like, all that stuff, you're going to conform to them.
Mhm.
And then if it doesn't work out, you're going to be left with, oh my gosh, I just did everything for them. I did everything that they wanted me to do. And
Right.
you're going to have an even lesser sense of self. But I think just because you don't have yourself figured out, that doesn't mean you shouldn't have a sense of self.
That's
Um,
good. That's good. Self-awareness.
mhm.
That so would you be with somebody that would you stick it like would you ride the wave with somebody that they were in their finding me moment? Like are you really willing to because I think people think that they just gonna meet their match and the
Mhm.
person they got this and this person has this or whatever.
Mhm.
And I mean it can turn into standards, right? Like everybody has standards of
Right.
what they want
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in a relationship or out of a person. But
Mhm.
if a person comes to you, the vibe is nice,
Mhm.
personalities blend well, like
Okay.
y'all are good.
Right.
But he does share with you like, hey, but I am doing some self work, right? I'm
Yeah.
self aware,
Yeah.
not to my fullest potential,
Okay.
but I got a little work. Are
Mhm.
you willing to ride the wave with that person?
Yeah. Yeah. And as to be honest, as long as they still have time and space for somebody else.
Ooh, that's
Because
good.
it's very different if you're on your self journey and you know that you don't have capacity to give something to somebody else.
Yep.
Because when you're in a relationship, you still sacrifice some of yourself.
Yep.
You do, like regardless, even in friendship sometimes, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So it's like if you can both be working on yourself and still be able to give some of yourself up,
Mm-hmm.
cool, great. But if you can't, don't play with me. Like be that self-aware
Right.
so we don't have a problem later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I'm gonna be like, you knew in the beginning though that you didn't have space for me.
Right. Right.
So as long as you can commit, you know what I'm saying, and like have space for both things, because I think there's definitely room for both things. Um, then yeah, I would ride it out. But if I see that you like put me on the shelf because it just sounded good to have somebody with you, I can't. I'm not rocking with that.
Mhm.
No.
Mhm.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so moral of the story is, right? Always looking for the newer version of yourself in terms
Mhm.
of like being the best version of yourself. I honestly don't even like to use that, oh, the best, this is the best version of, because there's always better. Like
Yeah.
there's always a way to challenge yourself or
Mhm.
to do something better.
Yeah.
Just, and that kind of twiddle downs twiddle not using that word. That kind of funnels down.
That's it. That's it right there. I was trying to help you out, but I couldn't figure it out
I
either.
can't even
Dwindle.
when I can't see
Right.
that either. Why is my tongue so thick?
Well, the goal is to
Finding it. I just found out my tongue was thick. Like, girl, get it out. Okay, that's it. This has been another episode of Small Talk. You already know, two queens, two perspectives. No, two
yeah.
queens, two perspectives, one topic. Y'all, this tongue got to get it together. Fighting me. We'll catch y'all next time.
Bye.